Hey guys, welcome back here to the Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys joining me for today's episode and swinging by the channel. And guys, today I want to talk to you about May bass fishing, just some things that work in the month of May, some of the things that the bass do in the month of May, and how I like to catch them. I mean, I've had a chance to fish all over the country in the month of May, so I got a pretty good amount of experience fishing this time of year. So we're going to get into that in today's video, and I think it's going to add up to some quality fish for you guys over the next month here. And also, guys, for getting started, thank you very much for everybody that's taking time to hit that subscribe button here to the Fishing Teacher, liking the videos, commenting on the videos, hyping the videos is a great way to support the channel. And also a special thanks, guys, to everybody that has been using and bookmarking that Tackle Warehouse link of mine that I put in every video description. Probably if you like the content here and it's helping you catch fish, the best thing you can do, guys, is just bookmark and use my Tackle Warehouse link anytime you got to buy some tackle. It's a good way to support the channel, and we really appreciate that. Okay, guys, May bass fishing. Depending upon the part of the country that you're in, you got a lot of fish in still different stages. If you're up north, some of the fish maybe just be getting ready to spawn up there. If you're in my part of the country, it's sort of like they're doing a little bit of everything. Some of the fish are done spawning, some of them are still spawning. Some of them may not be ready to spawn yet, but for the most part, through Missouri and everywhere, through the central part of the country, the spawn is sort of starting to wind down. And if you're down south, you're like Texas, Gulf Coast states, Florida, you're definitely in the post-spawn period. So that is sort of like the diversity of the May time of year. But for the most part, I sort of want to discuss what the fish do and some things that you need to do in the early post-spawn, because that sort of like signifies May, in my opinion. When I think about May, I think about early post-spawn, fishing. Okay, first of all, when you talk about fishing in May, the early post-spawn, you're still dealing with a lot of shallow fish. Unless you fish like the TVA lakes like Guntersville and Chickamauga and Kentucky Lake, when those fish get done spawning, they move out to those river channel edges really quick. But if you're on a man-made impoundment, like most of us fish, in May, the fish hang around shallow water. They hang around for probably, 3 or 4 weeks before they really start making a move out to deeper water, getting into the early summer patterns. And there's a lot of different things they do. It's like after the fish get done spawning, a lot of them will hang in the same type of spawning areas for quite a while, and they'll just feed. It's like they're, the shad are starting to spawn, so they may take advantage of a shad spawn and eat shad. Perch are starting to move up. The bluegills are starting to move shallow, so they're feeding on bluegills. There's snakes in the water. There's a lot of stuff for the fish to eat in shallow water. So in May, especially when that water temperature is still in the 70s, you're going to have a lot of bass in shallow water in less than 5 foot of water. And the ones that you don't have in shallow water are going to be moving not very far. Pretty much what they do is, like, if they don't hang around that real shallow water and shallow cover, they move out to the closest like secondary or main point or some type of a channel bank to sort of just sulk around and sort of recover a little bit. So a couple different things that I do here in the month of May. The first thing that I do is I still try to catch them shallow. And one of the best, or really two of the best ways that you can catch them in May when those fish are shallow is a topwater bait, like a popper or a walking topwater can work really good, maybe a little buzz bait, or a swim jig. A swim jig is deadly, guys, in May. May is probably the best month to fish a swim jig if those fish are in shallow cover. So if I got a lake that has some off-colored water, like water visibility of under 2 foot, I fish a swim jig a lot in May. And also I'll fish a fluke and a floating worm in that same shallow water. Works really good. If I'm fishing a little bit clear water, like the water visibility is say over 3 or 4 foot clarity, I love fishing the topwater. A walking topwater like a Zara Spook or that Megabass Diamante, deadly in May. It's really, really good. Fishing it like on, steep banks and shady banks and points, that type of stuff. Really, really good way to catch them. This pretty much stays the same. It's like that up until that water temperature starts getting into the upper 70s or starts to push 80 degrees. Now, again, depending upon your part of the country, it could vary, but this is a gradual progression, and there's always some fish that will remain shallow. I think here's sort of like the percentage. Let's say, for example, you got, in April, you have maybe 75% of the bass that are actually up shallow in the spawning type mode. They're in shallow water, they're trying to spawn, they've garden fry or whatever. By the time that May rolls around, by say like the end of May, that number is probably down to about probably 50% of the bass in the lake. Like by the end of May, are still up in that shallow water. The other 50% have started to disperse, and then by the time you get like into mid-June, you've only got like 25% of those bass remaining shallow. And those 25% of the bass that are shallow will stay shallow all summer long. They're what I call the perch feeders. So these are bass that are scavengers. They're feeding on anything that they can get in shallow water. You know, crawdads, perch, frogs, other fish, birds, snakes, whatever they can get. They just live in shallow water, and the other ones go about their own business there. So May, like I said, it's still a pretty good month to fish. The fish are pretty much aggressive. A lot of it also depends on the type of day that you have. Weather plays a big role in the month of May in the activity of a fish once you start getting water temperatures up in the 70s. So if you have some type of a low light day, like it's windy and cloudy a little bit, definitely fish your moving baits, like your top waters and the swim jigs and that type of stuff. And if it happens to be a day where it's sunny and not much wind, you can also catch them pretty good in the month of May on a wobble head jig or a football head jig. Probably one of my favorite ways to fish on a tough fishing condition day in May when you got light winds, and bright skies and that type of thing is, a wobble head on secondary or main lake points, flatter banks. A football head jig can work good too. Really good way to catch them under those conditions. And also a shaky head will continue to work pretty good in the month of May. But overall, guys, I stay shallow in May. I fish a swim jig a lot. I fish a topwater a lot. Sometimes I'll fish a swim bait a little bit. A glide bait can be pretty decent in May as well, just depending upon where you're at. But overall, my advice for fishing in the month of May, unless you're on a Tennessee River Valley lake, Pickwick, Guntersville, all that type of stuff, is just stay in those same type of areas where you think the fish are spawning, and just pick apart whatever cover you have. I mean, if you got pads or grass, fish that, docks, whatever. Just stay shallow for at least till the end of May. And then once about June starts getting here, it'll be a different conversation, and we'll talk about some other stuff. So anyway, hope it helps you guys out. We'll talk later.